Welcome to the 7-Figure Builder channel. Today, I'm going to talk about how I would get into the real estate game if I was to restart knowing everything I've known to date. I've developed over 1,500 lots to date and have been part of building 250 homes. I'm not a GC, no, but I manage the team and I manage the builder. So knowing all of this information, what would I do if I was to restart? Before I get into that, I want to share a little bit about my story. I actually started in the auto industry. I was fixing and flipping cars. What I did was at 15 years old, I saved up my first down payment. Well, it wasn't a down payment, but I saved up my first $1,500. And the way I did that was doing jobs in the summer and just saving up, whether it's mowing lawns or washing dishes, whatever it looked like. I did anything and everything I could, plus saving up some birthday money to buy that first car because I was inspired by my dad. He would buy and sell cars. And so I saved up that first $1,000 to $1,500, bought a 2001 Volkswagen Golf. And I ended up not doing anything to the car. It was a red Golf with chrome wheels, slightly lifted, and it was in a fender bender. So the bumpers were all scuffed up, and I ended up buying it from an insurance auto auction. It was a clean title, just had some damage. And I had my permit, so I was able to drive that car around, but decided to just clean it up. I detailed the inside, took some really nice photos of it, and posted it on Craigslist. Facebook Marketplace did not exist at that time. And if it did, nobody used it for selling cars. So I ended up listing it on Craigslist. That back in the day, Craigslist was free before you had to pay for it. And I ended up selling it for about $2,500. So I made anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. That was already my aha moment of, I can actually make money without having to work hourly or per job. So when I would mow the grass and get 30 bucks, now I'm like, I have to mow the grass 100 times to make this kind of money, or 10 times, whatever it was. And so this gave me that entrepreneurial mindset of, you don't have to necessarily put in a certain amount of effort to get a return. And so my first encouragement to you guys that are trying to get in the game, you really have to understand how to maximize your income. So if you're working an hourly job, look at possibly flipping or fixing or selling something, right? And I'll talk about real estate wholesaling. Or the second option, or both combined, look at a commission-based or performance-based job. So whatever that looks like, the better you perform, the more you're going to make. That's what you want to do in life, just in general. So the better deals I find, the better I underwrite them, the more money I'm going to make. I get rewarded for my work. It's not a matter of I worked 8 hours, I got paid for 8 hours. So that's my first advice to you guys, is understand the game of leverage and leverage your time to make more money. And so me doing all these fixing and flipping my first car gave me that aha moment. I started to scale it. I bought 2 more cars. Then after 2 cars, I bought 3 cars, 4 cars. I started doing around 30 to 40 cars a year before I even graduated high school. So to me, it was really cool to see that I was able to scale this company. And I did it while using money and turning it into more money. Ironically, I do the same thing in real estate, but I don't use my own money. I leverage other people's money at this time. What's up, guys? Everybody keeps asking my comments, my DMs. I need help. I want to get in the game. Our team and I will help you out. Just shoot us a text message, 360-216-0323. We're going to answer every question you have: development, construction, wholesale, anything that you need. 360-216-0323. Let's get back to the video. But I never understood necessarily the commission side of things, where you didn't have to actually invest your money to make money, or you didn't have to necessarily buy real estate to make money in real estate. You could just be an expert in it. So the first thing I want to say is, one, understand that you don't have to necessarily work hourly to make some sort of income. You could actually work on a deal-to-deal basis, on a commission basis, or performance base. And so that's the first. The second is surround yourself around the right people. So what I was doing, it was really hard for me to actually get into the real estate game. I did not just stand on the sidelines and wait until an opportunity came. What I did was I was fixing and selling and working these cars and constantly moving the wheel and making sure I made some sort of money while trying to get into the game. I had the unknown. I didn't have somebody to teach me. So that's my step 2 or the second piece of advice I have for you guys is, find other people already doing it and learn from them. For example, I have my education side of things. I have my students. I have my community channel. And everybody within there is doing deals, they're learning, they're working with each other, plus they're working with me. So surround yourself around the right people. There's events you can go to, there's meetups you can go to, but keep in mind when stuff is free, typically there's not as much value as when you pay for something, one, but two, psychologically, when you pay for something, you take it just a bit more serious and you'll actually put the action in for it. And so again, surround yourself around those right people. It's gonna get you a lot on top of watching different YouTube channels and content, learning the game, understanding the game, but practicing what you're learning. So you have to put action behind that knowledge. It's really important to understand that. So I was flipping these cars, started saving up a little bit of money. Obviously I had living expenses, but I got to the point where I saw somebody else was building real estate and I got really inspired. I ended up getting a deal brought to me. So I didn't even know how to find the deals and I still was able to build my first home. And I sold all of the cars I had, took my down payment, it was about $50,000, and put it into my first deal. I ended up going with a hard money loan, which is essentially a high interest loan. At that time, I didn't have any other option, or I didn't think I had any other option. I was working a salary because I was working for a developer, a real estate developer. I was working that salary specifically to learn the game. While working a salary, I could have actually gotten a construction loan under my personal name, which would have been half the cost, literally half the cost to get a construction loan in my personal name. Instead, I went with the hard money route, paid double the interest, double the closing costs, ended up putting all the money I had. So can you imagine the risk I'm taking? I'm putting everything I have into this one house. And I hired a builder. So I didn't actually have to build the home. I didn't actually have to find the land. I had a wholesaler that brought me the land, which is what I want to teach you. You can start wholesaling and finding deals for other people and getting paid. Wholesaler made $20,000 on me. The builder made $20,000 on me. And I walked away with $47,000 of profit. So the deal itself had $87,000 of profit. $20,000 went on the front end to the land. $20,000 went on the back end of the builder. I was left with 47. I put about 50,000 down. Can you imagine I was making $1,000 a car when I got a check for 47,000 and got my 50,000 back? I looked at the check and went, I could do this for a living. I'm going to start scaling this. I'm going to start going. And so I started finding, with the wholesaler making that 20,000 on me, I said, I could learn how to do that. I don't really want to be the builder. I don't want to do that part of it, but I'm going to learn how to find these deals. And that's my third piece of advice to you. You don't actually need to have the money to flip real estate. You can flip paper. And that's what that wholesaler did. He brought me a deal, said, hey, you can build a house here. Here's the plans. Here's what it is. Here's the numbers. And I paid him $20,000 for it. I didn't know I was until the closing table. And so that's the key here, is flipping paper. What does that mean? Wholesaler got a contract signed, paper, with the property owner. They agreed to a price. At that time, they agreed to $70,000. That's what he had it under contract. I didn't know that price. He pitched it to me for 100. I told him, no, I'll pay you 90, because I always want to negotiate. I did it in cars. So he's at 70, I'm at 90. At the closing table, the seller gets the 70. I gave the 90 to the title company. The remaining balance of 20 went to this wholesaler, simply for finding the deal and just moving paper. You can do it with little to no money. So you can just, if you have the skills of door knocking, things like that, you're not spending your money on it. Or you can have a team like I do. We've actually done over 7 figures in the last 18 months wholesaling. And we have marketing. We have people on phones. We pay people overseas, our cold callers, and we're moving this ship and creating warm leads rather than you generating your own leads. But there's 2 different options here to do the wholesale side of things. And the very big key here is the missing piece, which is what? The knowledge. So knowledge to me is the biggest risk somebody has. When they don't know something, that's their biggest risk. The biggest risk in life is what you don't know, not what you know. So me, for example, why am I not building 100-story skyscrapers or 30-story skyscrapers? Because I lack that knowledge, therefore I'm not doing it. But I know how to build houses, I know how to wholesale, I know how to develop. I've developed over 1,000 lots. That is my limiting factor right there. And if I want to scale it to the next, what I do is I write a check. I don't really care for skyscrapers. I'm not building them. But when I wanted to get into so I was building and I was developing and I did not know how to deal find, I said, you know what? I'm going to write a big check. I'm going to pay somebody to teach me how to wholesale. And so that is where I learned the wholesale game, and I put all 3 together and I scaled my company. So I think that's the biggest key here, is those factors there. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys so much. You heard a little bit about my story and my first deal that I've ever done. It took me 4 years and it can take you 2 months. So one of my students did her first deal in 3 weeks and made $45,000. It took me 4 years. I want you to be that student. Reach out to us if you're interested, 360-216-0323, text YouTube, and we will connect with you. We'll share what we have, our education platform, and our community, and looking forward to the next one.